Last weekend, I got a spinning wheel, but it's super cute and I finished the body and I feel like it's so tiny. I absolutely love this stitch pattern. It's half fisherman's rib with cables. Hello and welcome to Golden Hour Knitwear. My name is Cameron and today I've got a regular podcast episode for you. If you're new here, welcome, and if you've been here before, welcome back. Thanks for coming back. This is just my little corner of the internet where I get to share all of my fun fibery things like spinning and knitting and dyeing. It's a lot of fun. Let's see. So we've got quite a bit of different things to talk about today. Not quite as jam-packed as last time, but we do have quite a bit of things. So let's just start really quick with what I'm wearing because I talked about it last time as a finished object, but I didn't talk about like how it wore. I've only worn it one full day. So this is the Moonset Tee by Ozetta, knit in Fuzzy Peach Fibers Joy Base, which is 50% alpaca, 25% silk, and 25% linen. I love this base a lot. I love it, love it. I knit her a sample in this yarn and loved working with it, so I ordered a bunch from that pre-order. And this is the first thing that I've made with it. And I finally got a full day in the last couple weeks to wear this shirt. And we went out and went to a farm, and so we were outside a bit, and it's been pretty warm. So the wearability was really nice. I really, really love the yarn. And like every time I would touch it, it's just like, ooh, that's nice. It feels really nice. The only thing about this pattern, because I know I had some like, about it in the last video. I talked a little bit about how it just feels shapeless kind of, or that my gauge on my ribbing is kind of funky. So it feels like things are just sitting weird up here and it just feels like I'm wearing scrubs. After having a full day to wear it, it wears better than I thought it would. I like it more than I thought I would, though I think I would like it even better if I would have gone up a size. I think I knit size 2. I don't know what the bust circumference for that is. I am normally a 32-inch bust, but remember, I'm pregnant right now. I'm like 28 weeks pregnant almost in a couple days. And so things are not the same. I haven't actually measured my bust. I'm sure it's changed throughout the whole pregnancy, but it's fuller than it normally would be, and it will be for the next year because I'll be breastfeeding. So we'll see in like, not next summer, but the following summer. We'll see how I like the fit then, because after I was finished breastfeeding my 2-year-old, my daughter, my bust size went down a little bit, which is normal. Most people usually go down a little bit. That's just what happens when you breastfeed. Anyway, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's still wearable right now. I just wish it was a little bit bigger. I might consider knitting this again, but just going up a size. I think also my gauge might be a little bit tight. I haven't double checked my gauge. I don't know. I think my gauge up in the yoke is tighter than in the body. I mean, that's pretty normal for me. Well, maybe not. I don't know. It's pretty normal for me just because these are such short distances, and I'm usually focused on increases and trying to knit the yoke all nice and tidy, which ends up being tight. And so I usually have a tighter gauge in the yoke than in the body, and I need to work on adjusting that, because knitting a swatch versus knitting a yoke is just different knitting, and so my gauge always kind of changes. But I'm learning more about that and I'll be able to fix that. Anyways, so I think I would recommend this pattern. I think it's better with more ease than less ease. I definitely recommend this base for it. I know quite a few people carry it. I love Inga's yarn, Fuzzy Peach Fibers. I just love her colors. This is Sun Baked, by the way. It's part of the Joshua Tree collection. Such a good color. I went to Flock with her and helped her vent her booth, and she had some Sun Baked on a DK base, and I just stared at it the whole time. It's such a beautiful color. I need more. I do have maybe 30 grams left, 50 grams left of the second ball, maybe in 25 grams, I don't know. So I'm thinking about using it as stripes in another t-shirt. So I might knit another t-shirt in the same base but white, because I have quite a bit of white in this base. I can't remember the exact color. Champagne. I think I got it on champagne. So I think the colorway from the Joshua Tree collection. So I think I might knit another t-shirt in white but have this Sun Baked as stripes. I think that'd be really nice. That'll be next summer though. I'm not planning on that anytime soon. So yes, overall, pretty happy with this. I do wish it was slightly larger, though I might be happier with it once I'm through the hormones of pregnancy and breastfeeding. Okay, I do have one finished object and then some spinning finished objects that I'll talk about really, really fast. So I'm going to talk more about spinning at the end because something exciting happened for me in the last 2 weeks with spinning, which I'll get to at the end. But let's see. So my finished object is my California sweater by Knit California. So here it is. Last week, I think I just like a couple inches joined in the round and now it's finished. This is a quick, fun knit. I enjoyed it. It's nice to have a quick, easy stockinette knit on the needles when you don't want to think but you want to knit. So it's nice to just go, go, go. So this one was great. I do love this yarn combo. This is my fingering weight base and my Surrey silk base held together. So it's quite a loose gauge. So if you don't know what the California sweater is, it's inspired by the Lento. If you don't know what that is, the Lento is a raglan with a fingering plus a lace weight held together, but a very loose gauge, knit on quite thick needles. So the California sweater is a drop shoulder, same gauge. It's a 16 stitch gauge, I want to say 16 stitch for 10 centimeters or 4 inches, so that it's a really, really fast knit. Now, Leslie from Knit California asked me if I wanted to do kits with her for this design, so I put together 5 kits for the California sweater, and I sent her some yarn. So her first sample, the pink and purple one, if you've seen that, is Coastal Crush in the colorway Coastal Crush. And then this one is in Desert Sands. This one's a taupe top color. I still don't know how to say that word. With black speckles here and there. And every here and there you'll see some rust speckles too, which I think just goes really nicely with it. It's just so wearable, this color. I love this color. So the kits are actually available now. So the California sweater and the kits both went live on Saturday, September 14th. So if you're watching this shortly after I put it out, then the kits will likely still be up, but if you're interested, you'll have to go hop on that quick because I'm only keeping it up for a week or until I hit capacity. So if you're interested in any kits, go check it out quick. But yes, I feel like this is nice and drapey. I don't know if that's the gauge or if it's the yarn. I'm sure it's a little bit of both. The loose, airy gauge plus the silk Surrey lace weight yarn in there, helping it just be super drapey. I think that's really, really nice. Okay, I did have to modify this. I accidentally knit the yoke too long, and I didn't realize it until a couple inches after I finished the body. And so I had to adjust my sleeve pickup rate and how many stitches I picked up for the sleeves. So my sleeves are a little bit baggier than the pattern calls for, but I actually love it. So, and I usually do have to adjust sleeves anyways. So, I mean, it's not a huge deal because I'm a shorty. So I normally have to play around with sleeve decrease rates and whatnot. And my row gauge is usually funny too. I think I'm usually a looser row gauge knitter than a lot of people, though sometimes I'm tighter. It just depends. And so sometimes I have to mess around with the pickup rate, but the pattern was very well written and it's a very good one. So if you're interested in a quick, easy, fun knit, that is the California sweater. All right, I do have, we'll just say I have one finished spin. I've been on a huge spinning kick, so I've actually spun a lot in the last 2 weeks, but this is the only skein that I have. Well, actually, no. You haven't fully seen this yet. Okay, we'll start with this. So I finished up these skeins. I talked about these last week and my plans for them, or 2 weeks ago. And so I talked about how this one right here, I got both of these at Flock. This was Rollags from Keira Wiggins. I believe I had this one finished. Yeah, I had this one finished for the last episode, but I hadn't set the yarn yet. So here's that. It looks very nice. I absolutely love it. It is so soft. It's a BFL, and I forgot. I did check, but I forgot again. It's BFL silk. Shoot. I don't remember. I want to say there's alpaca in there. I can't remember. But it is so soft and scrumptious. I absolutely love it. It is so pretty. Very, very fall or autumn-like. And then I don't think I was finished with this spin yet. So this one I also got at Flock. though I then took it and blended it with something that I got at a previous fiber festival. So this fiber was roving. It was a border Leicester crossed with a blue face Leicester. So crossed, like the sheep was bred. I'm pretty sure that's what it's actually. It's right here. Whoops. Border Leicester crossed with a blue face Leicester. And I had 2 ounces of it. And then I went home. I didn't have a plan for it. I didn't have a plan for my Rolags either, but then I decided to use them in the same project. So then I went home and I grabbed some mohair locks that I got at a previous fiber festival in May here in Ohio. And I brushed out the locks and I flicked them and I carded them into the BFL. So Border Leicester, Blue Face Leicester are both very long wool sheep. They have long locks. When I talked to them and asked them a little bit more about the cross, they said that the staple length ended up being really long on this sucker. And as I was spinning it, I can tell you that's absolutely true. I think I could really just feel it. I was spinning and my hands had to be further apart than usual because for those of you who don't spin, if your hands are close together when you're spinning, you're holding the same locks, right? Here. Whoop. If I take some wool, I can't pull it apart right here because that's just all the same hairs, all the same lengths of fiber. But if I pull here, it's gonna start to pull apart and I don't wanna actually pull it apart, but you can see it kind of start to separate. So when you're drafting, you wanna make sure your hands are further apart than the staple length of the fiber or the actual length of each individual little hair. And so I went to spin this and my hands had to be further apart than usual because it was such a long staple length. And the reason I bring up the staple length is because a long staple length is great for socks because it's a little bit sturdier. It makes a sturdier yarn. And because I blended mohair into it, mohair is also very strong. That also makes for a nice sock yarn. So I have BFL cross with mohair blended in there. And this was so much fun to spin. It is so soft and squishy and I absolutely love it. I cannot wait to knit socks out of this. That's the intention. So I have this and I have this. This bloomed so much when I set the yarn. You haven't seen the finished thing. I think I finished spinning it before I edited the last podcast. So I put photos up, but I don't think they were set yet of these two. So I've given them a bath recently. This one bloomed so much. They're both woolen preps and they're both spun long draw. So they're both woolen yarns, meaning they're light and fluffy, airy. Though this one bloomed a ton. I love BFL. And the yarn is just so squishy and bouncy. I absolutely love it. So that means this is a little bit thicker of a yarn than this, which is fine because I had this little sample of mohair that my supplier sent. It's a new mohair base that they carry now. And I've been interested to test out the difference between this base and their older mohair base. And now I finally can because mohair is strong and silk are both strong. They're great for socks. And a lot of people hold mohair, not a lot of people, but people sometimes hold mohair with sock yarn to make stronger socks. And I think that's what I know that's what I'm gonna do. So I dyed this up to be in the same color family as this. So I'm gonna hold these two together to achieve a similar gauge as this one. I think it'll be perfect. And then I'm going to knit some cute little Colorwork socks. I purchased Summer Lee's Colorwork Cuff Club. I'm so excited about that. So if you don't know what that is, she's put out a little club where you have the base sock pattern. And then every month she puts out a new cuff, like a little Colorwork cuff for the sock. And I love knitting little socks with little bands of color work on the cuff. I just love it. So that's what this is going to be. I think I'm going to use that pattern. It's a finger weight pattern, and this is more of a DK weight yarn. I'm probably going to knit my normal size socks, do a fairly tight gauge, but that'll mean my sock is a little bit oversized, which is perfect for non-superwash yarns because as it felts, it'll shrink and it'll be stronger as it felts. So I want it to felt a little bit, which means it'll shrink a little bit, but it'll still fit because they're gonna be oversized to begin with. So I'll mess around with gauge and pick the right size and stuff like that, do a little bit of math first, but what I'm shooting for is August's Colorwork Cuff Club pattern, I guess. And I think it's just like little flowery, like floral colorwork at the top. This will be my contrast color. And I think I will do toes and heels with this now. I wasn't going to without the mohair, but because I need to hold the mohair with it to get a similar gauge, I can now do the heels and cuff because the mohair will give it the strength. I wouldn't use this alone for socks just because it doesn't, I don't know the silk content. I think the silk is probably just the little neps, the tweedy neps in here. And I don't think this would hold up well in socks. But with this, I think it will. So I think this will be such a fun little project. I've been itching to do color work lately. So I think this will be a lot of fun. I'm super excited to cast this on. I'm also excited to let you know how this BFL mohair cross works as a sock yarn because it just seems very Camry. It's very, I love it. I'm so excited. It was so much fun to spin. I'm excited to just test it out and let you know how it goes. Okay, and then I finished one other thing. This one was a 50-gram spin, so it was a quick little guy. But this is a new blend for me, and I left the tag downstairs. But I believe it had like Erie silk, llama, camel, and alpaca. I don't remember. Oh, merino, Falkland merino. There's like 4 things in it. Every one of those things are crazy soft. This was a slippery spin, and it was hard to get used to at first, especially because, and I'll talk more about it at the end, especially because last weekend, was it really just last weekend? Yeah, last weekend I got a spinning wheel. So I have an e-spinner since Christmas. Before then I spun on a drop spindle. Then at Christmas I got an e-spinner, and that's what I've been spinning on. But then last weekend I found an antique flax wheel, a Country Craftsman antique flax wheel. And when I say antique, it's not like crazy old. It's probably only the 80s or 90s or something like that. I really don't know much about it, but I think when people say antique, sometimes they think, 1800s or 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, right? But this is not that old. I don't think. Anyway, it's beautiful. It's deep, dark wood, and it's just a cute little wheel. But it's a double drive wheel, and I'm still learning, but I think double drive wheels just spin faster than like a Scotch tension wheel that has just one, I don't know my terms. Anyway, it spins faster. It loves to do long draw, which I love doing long draw, but with very slippery stuff, it was just hard to get used to. Especially for like my second or third spin on the wheel, because this was just slipping out of my hands because the wheel was going fast and it was just slippery, and I had to get the right tension, and it was just had to get used to it. But it was a lot of fun. It was a fun spin. It's a very soft, beautiful yarn. I'm excited to spin with it. I did a 2-ply. I think it's probably a DK weight yarn. I think I'm just gonna knit a tiny little scarf with it because I'm curious to see how this colorway knits up. Oh, by the way, this is Akara Rose. It's very beautiful. I have one more braid from her, and it's gorgeous. I'm so excited to spin that one. But anyways, I spun this as, and I don't know my terms very well, a fractal spin. So I split the braid in half lengthwise, and then I spun one of the halves just as it was, and then the other half I split in half one more time, I believe, and spun one length of it and then the other length of it, and then plied those together, if that makes sense. So I should have a little slightly color changing yarn, but most of this is like the silver natural color of the braid with just little splotches of color here and there. So I'm interested to see how it knits up. I'm really itching to just cast on the yarn, like just cast it on as a little scarf just to see what happens. But I have plenty of things on the needles right now, and I have so many other things that I want to get going on the needles, so I've just got to prioritize some things and get going on others. All right, that's all for my finished objects. And I do have more spinning, but I'll talk about that at the end as, you know, whips and whatnot and some other projects that are kind of sort of in the works for spinning. But let's get into not finished objects. Did I say that earlier? Let's get into whips. All right, the first one I'm going to talk about super quick because it's a sock and socks are easy to talk about. But I finished the first sock of this little pair right here. I'm not following a specific pattern, just doing a 3x1 ribbed sock. The colorway is Love Letter from Casual Fashion Queen. I love this yarn so much. I don't want to take it out. So this is Love Letter by Casual Fashion Queen. It is so speckly and so autumnal. I love it. I casted the sock on probably in the spring or even the late winter. So very early this year. And I think, pretty sure. And I finally finished it. I just haven't been knitting socks. But as we're getting into fall and I'm seeing more people finish socks, or it's just getting a little cooler outside, I've been itching to have just a new pair of hand knit socks. So I have been prioritizing that sucker a little bit more. And I've cast on the second one. I cast on the second one, but I haven't gotten very far, so I'm not going to show. But then this other one is, I just dyed this up for, I was going to do a mini collection in the winter last year, but then I ended up not having the energy for that. But anyways, this isn't released, this doesn't have a colorway name. Well, it did have a colorway name, but it's just basically it's just one of a kind now. So I think they go together really well, and I just love the way it turned out. All right, my next whip, work in progress, is my Pines pullover. And this is a test knit. It's due, I think, next weekend? Or maybe I have, in about, I don't know, about a week and a half. I really don't know, but it'll be super fast. Like I could probably finish this in 2 or 3 days. So I finished the body this week. I think I just was a couple inches under joining in the round last week. Look how pretty that is in the light. Oh, that's nice. I'll put it in the shadows over here so it's easy to see. But I love these cables so much. This yarn is oh so soft. It's so, so, so nice. It's this new base that I'm testing out, and I would absolutely love to bring to Golden Hour Knitwear at some point. It is a like chunky weight yarn, but I think you could technically knit like a DK weight gauge, a worsted weight gauge, or a bulky weight gauge with it. But here it is. You can see, maybe you can see that strand. Yeah. So that's just the tie, but it is a blown yarn. But I forget the exact fiber content. But it's really, really nice. It's like alpaca, nylon. I don't know. It's really nice, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely want to bring this to my base lineup in the future, probably next year, but we'll see how it goes. But it's just really nice. It's knitting these cables really nicely. It has decent stitch definition without being like cables, right? It's just a nice, I don't know, it's got a nice texture to it. So I really love that. I really enjoyed this pattern. At first, I had to really, really watch the chart a ton to make sure I was crossing my cables in the right direction, because you have like 8 different cables, 6 different cables or something like that in here, and it changes every row. And so in every row you can have up to 4 different cable, up to 4 different cables per row, because you have this row of cables, oh gosh, this row of cables and this row of cables, and this one's getting thin and then thick, and this one's thick going thin, right? And they just alternate. And then you have 2 cables within. So you have a cable here and a cable here. You have a cable here and a cable here, right? And so just depending on where you are in the pattern, you can have up to 4 different crosses at any time. But as you get going and you kind of think, like, you make a conscious effort to recognize the pattern and kind of memorize it a little bit. Not too conscious. You don't have to try too hard, but as you get going, you're like, oh, I can see I want this one across this way and this one across this way. So this yarn needs to go in the front and these stitches need to go in the back. You just get the hang of it pretty quick. I mean, not pretty quick, but I think by the time you've been working the round a little bit, you'll get the hang of it and you don't have to think so hard or reference the chart so hard. But there it is. I absolutely love it. I've been knitting my sweaters a little bit longer for the belly bump, the baby bump. So that's been good. And I also got some leggings that go a little bit higher. So I'm excited that I'll actually be able to really wear this winter. Though I think it might be a little funky over the belly. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I just have to knit 2 sleeves. I love sleeve knitting, so I'm going to finish this one up quick, which I'm excited to finish this up quick because I am so excited to get into some other projects. I have one new cast on that I'll show really quick. I decided to knit something for the baby. I wasn't going to because so the kiddo's due in December. We don't know the gender. We like to be surprised. And it's not as fun. Okay, it's fun to knit baby things, but it's more fun to knit things for people when you know who they are and you kind of, not that, you know, your little baby, not that your baby knows what their favorite color is until, you know, they're a couple years old or whatever, but so you can't really knit something based off of their preferences then, but it's just easier to knit little girly things or little boy things, and it's just fun to do that, I guess. But I decided to knit this little baby, and this is a test knit, but this is the basic striped sweater, the baby version. I don't know if there's an adult version, but it's super cute, and I finished the body, and I feel like it's so tiny. I can't believe my daughter used to be this small. Is the body supposed to be bigger than this? I followed the pattern exactly, and I think my row gauge is even a little bit loose. So it's technically a tad longer than it should be. So it's so tiny. I don't know, it's tiny, tiny. I finished up the body last night. This is such a quick knit. It technically calls for DK weight yarn, but the gauge is 28 stitches. And a lot of the testers had issues with it. It's a sponsored test knit. The yarn is sponsored, but the yarn company is not. It's somewhere overseas. I'm not gonna say just the UK because there's a lot of countries and a lot of areas over there. And I don't remember exactly what country it's from, but I didn't want to wait for shipping. And the testers struggled using that DK weight yarn on a 28 stitch gauge. So I just used fingering weight since I'm not using the sponsored yarn, but it's a cute little thing. It's super cute. I want to make myself a striped sweater with stripes like this. I guess I have my hazy striped sweater, but those are thicker stripes. So yes, I just have the 2 sleeves to finish up and then the little button band right here. So it's got a little button band here so that you can unbutton it to get the kiddo's head in. The pattern actually has 2 versions. So you can either knit it with or without the button band. But my daughter's head was in like the 90th percentile when she was a newborn. So I decided we better put the button band on there just in case so we can get this over little kiddo's head. This is the newborn size. And again, we don't know the gender. Boys tend to be a little bit bigger than girls, I think, most of the time. And usually your later kids are usually bigger and bigger. So like my daughter was 8 pounds, 8 ounces. This little kiddo should probably, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this next kiddo was a little bit bigger than that, which freaks me out because, anyway, but we'll just see if this fits. I'm just so used to looking at my almost 3-year-old and she's a monster compared to this little thing. So we'll see if this actually fits. I'll have to get the newborn clothes out and see and compare, but anyways, it's super cute. It's been fun to make a little something for the little kiddo, but it's a cute little sweater. The buttons I'm planning on using, this yarn, by the way, is just Oopsie yarn, one of a kind yarn. I was developing other colorways and they weren't quite the right shade, so they just got put away. But I'm just using these buttons from, I can't remember, I think it's from Michael's. I just got a pack of these. It's a pack of normal size, I think just slightly under 1 inch wooden buttons and then some smaller ones like this. And I used the larger ones on my home shirt jacket, if you saw that. I love them. They're just super cheap, but they're they're nice and they just work on a lot of things. And I think they'll be super cute with this. So these are the smaller size. And I plan on using these buttons for at least one other project. I also used them on my April cardigan. I guess I have a love for these buttons. But they're cheap and they're cute. So there you go. I'm a sucker for wood. But anyway, so there's that. That one's been a lot of fun. I'll probably finish that one up this week. I have a goal over the next 2 weeks to finish my Pines pullover and that little baby knit there. All right, and I have 2 more works in progress, though they have had no progress on them since last week. I'll just quickly show them. This is a new design. This is I've been calling it the not so basic rib because it's basically rib, but it's not basic. But I'm not set on that name. I don't absolutely love it. So this is just going to be a raglan. I'm really not that far. Just a raglan sweater. And I'm showing again because last week the lighting was awful. I was filmed indoors last week and the windows were next to me instead of in front of me and it was awful. And I'm filming in the morning today in the sunroom. So it's a little cooler. It's getting hot. But anyways, I will show you the swatch. This is the first swatch in a tighter gauge. So this is not the exact swatch, but this is the general idea of what it'll look like when it's finished. I absolutely love it. It's just stockinette, seed stitch, stockinette, seed, stockinette, seed. Love it. I'm excited to finish it and wear it. It's probably only gonna have, I can't remember what I did the math as. I think I was planning on 4 to 6 inches of positive ease. So not like a ton, which also makes me less motivated to work on it because it's harder for me to wear things with only 4 to 6 inches of positive ease, let alone knit them and design them and like wear them and see if they're fitting correctly, just because my body is very different right now. And so I'm not too eager to work on this. I am excited to have it. I think it'll be super cute when it's done and just a basic and just super easy, but not easy, super easy to wear classic sweater without being too minimal, but without being too wacky. But like I said, it's just harder to wear it when your body is much different than it would normally be. So I'm pretty much only through the short row shaping. And I don't love knitting raglans just because then you have a billion stitches on the needles by the time you get to splitting for sleeves. So we'll see if I am very motivated to work on that one. The other one I am motivated to work on, the second whip. This is my Minou cardigan. Again, no progress since the last time, but I desperately want to finish it so that I can wear it because cardigans are perfect for baby bumps. So this is blocked. I did show it last week, but again, the lighting was awful and it's still kind of funky. It probably is better for you than it is for me just because it's hard to see on the camera, but it ends up being more visible when I'm editing. Anyway, so this is the Minou cardigan. I absolutely love this stitch pattern. It's half fisherman's rib with cables. Absolutely beautiful. This has been on the needles for probably a year at this point, but I'm excited to finish it. I am going to prioritize finishing it this week, or at least the body, in the next 2 weeks. And then by then I'll be like, heck yeah, just sleeves and a button band and I'm good to go. I'm just so excited to finish it. Let's see, where's it at? I had the button. Oh, here it is. These are the buttons I'm planning on using. I just went to the thrift store at one point and found some pieces of clothing that had nice buttons that I liked. But I didn't like the clothing at all. It was quite out of fashion. So I just took the buttons off. And so that got me some pretty dang cheap buttons. But I think it'll go really nicely with this. Especially because I'm a sucker for black tees or whatever underneath a brown cardigan. And this has a little bit of black in it, and I think it'll just be perfect to kind of tie that kind of outfit together. So I'm excited for that. I just want to finish the body, get the button band on there, see what the buttons look like with it, finish the sleeves because I love sleeve knitting, and then be able to wear it. And I think now's the time. Here we go. We're going to finish it. I'm going to finish the body in the next 2 weeks. That's another goal. Hold me to it. Okay, that is all the works in progresses, I believe. Though I do have a spin in progress. I'm still getting to know my spinning wheel. So like I said earlier, I got a new spinning wheel last weekend. So I've been spinning a lot. I feel like I knit a lot this week, but I did a lot of swatching. I did a lot of spinning as well. So I didn't knit quite as much as I think I normally would have. Anyway, I am spinning up this. This is from Hello Lavender. I got it at Flock. Look how cute my new bobbins are. Just the wooden, it's a wooden wheel. It's just so pretty. I love wooden things. And I love the way this green looks with the warm wooden bobbins. Very nice. Anyways, so this is Hello Lavender. She recently started dyeing fiber. She had this at Flock. This is her Rambouillet base. I got a 4-ounce braid at Flock, and I love it. So it's the colorway Plant Vibes. It's very, very pretty. I love it. I'm spinning this quite thin. It's wanting to go very thin. Rambouillet is just so squishy. It's so fun. I'm excited so I've done half of it. I'm going to do the other half. This is just, I took the braid, split it in half lengthwise. This is one lengthwise. This is the other lengthwise, though I split the other half in half again. And then I'm going to spin through one of the halves and then the other half. So it'll be a fractal, a 1-2 fractal. Is that how you say that? And then I'll spin them together. It's not like a very contrasting color changing fiber, but I think it'll have a little bit of color changes to it. I don't quite know how it'll knit up, but I'm interested to see. I don't know what to use it for. I got it to practice spinning and to practice, and I started spinning it so that I could practice spinning on my wheel because I'm itching to spin. Well, I just love my new wheel. I love my new wheel, and I'm itching to start a sweater spin, but the sweater spin that I want to start has a lot of prep to it, so I'm not ready to start it yet. So I'm just practicing for now. This was the first thing that I spun on my wheel. I also spun, this was just an overflow that I snuck into my overflow braid of fiber from the Princess Diaries collection that I snuck into my stash. Tongue twister, snuck into my stash. This is Princess Never Chases a Chicken. It's my favorite yellow. Oh my goodness. So good. And this is my fine Peruvian wool top base. Lots of fun. Very enjoyable to spin. This is just 2 ounces. I just wanted to do a quick 2 ounces just to kind of figure out the wheel. I'm sure it's very thick and thin, especially in the beginning, but I got the hang of it by the end. So far on my new wheel, I've spun this 2 ounces, this 50 grams, and this 2 ounces in the last week. That's more than I typically spin in any given week, but I feel like I did more than that. I don't know. Anyway, I'm loving it. I love my wheel. Every time I sit at it, I'm just like, oh, this is so good. It's so smooth. I absolutely love it. It only has one pedal, whatever, but it's nice because I love spinning long draw, so it allows me to kind of shift my body in a way that I can easily just long draw, like really long. So it's really, really nice. But yeah, my wheel, I love it. I wasn't planning on getting it. It's used. I was just poking around on Facebook Marketplace last weekend, and I found this one. It looked beautiful. It was 50 bucks. I was like, 50 bucks? Heck yes. I did have to drive like a good 3.5 hours to get it, but we were in the middle of potty training, and it was a rough week. And my husband was like, just go get it. And he watched our daughter, and I got to get out of my brain, take a nice long drive, listen to a good book, go get a spinning wheel. I hung out with my friend Emily. She lives like 30 minutes away from where I picked the wheel up, so I hung out with her and her husband for a little bit, looked at her yarn stash. It was a lot of fun, had some delicious pizza. It was a good day. It was very needed too, because last week was a struggle. But now potty training's going great. It's so good. Anyway, but I absolutely love it. I got there and she's like, oh, we have the stool for it too, the stool that came with it. You can just an extra 10 bucks and the stool is yours too. So 60 bucks, and I have a wheel and a matching stool. They're beautiful. Absolutely love them. And it also matches my house really nicely because my house has a lot of, it was built in 1952, lots of warm woods, and the wheel is also a nice warm wood. It matches, well, this is harder to tell. This is kind of a cooler tone, but the wheel, I'll put pictures up, but the wheel is, it's a pretty one. It's more antique looking, and that's what I wanted. I don't think I would have done well with this wheel if I got it like 6 months ago, before I even touched long draw spinning. Just because this one goes fast, because it's a double drive band and it likes to spin fast and thin. I wasn't doing that 5 or 6 months ago. I was doing short forward, and I think I would have been overwhelmed, and I would have over twisted the yarn with how fast it spins with doing short forward. But now that I'm doing long draw, you need a lot of twists in your yarn in order to long draw, do supported long draw. And so this wheel is perfect for that. And I love it. I love it because I love spinning that way. It's just so fast, and it goes so smooth, and it's just so good. I love it so much. So it's perfect timing. It's a perfect wheel for me. And I love that it's just a warm wood. It looks a little antique and it's just cute. I love it. I do need to get more bobbins. I don't know where. There is a fiber festival like 30 minutes from my house next weekend. I am going. I don't want to get any yarn or fiber. I might get fiber a little bit, but I'm mostly going to go look for like a hook, like an orifice hook to, you know, feed stuff through, and potentially bobbins, potentially lazy Kate, because I know there's some wheel repair guys that went last year. Maybe they'll go again this year, and we'll just kind of see. Just to get some accessories for my wheel. Oh, I do want a Diz. I'm gonna get a Diz if I can find one. I've always seen Diz's at fiber festivals, so I'm gonna see if I can find one I like for a good price, and that's what I'm shooting for. But I love my wheel. I'm itching to get a sweater spin going. I'll talk about that really quick because I've been working on the prep for that. So I have a black Coopworth fleece that I got at the Great Lakes Fiber Festival in May. It's gorgeous. I just need to scour it and pick it and everything. But I decided that I want to blend in some silk neps or tweed, like little bits of silk here and there. Just a light tweed effect. But I want to do a certain color palette. I wanted to do like ochres and teals and just rich colors. So I dyed up the silk last night. This is still a little wet, but here's my color palette so far. I'm worried this is too much for me. And I'm gonna blend it into the black fleece, by the way. So imagine this with a black yarn. These are big, so this is silk noil. It's just a whole bunch of very, very short bits of fiber that will easily make like tiny little tweedy bits without being massive or wild. Like sorry silk tweed, stuff like this can sometimes get to be a lot. In your yarn. There's one. Like, that's just a big chunk of silk hanging out, which is fine. That's just not what I'm going for with this yarn. So this will be perfect. I'll break it up really fine and just have tiny little bits of color here and there, and it'll just be subtle. And I dyed up all of the silk noil last night, and here's my colors. But I'm worried that it's, oh my gosh, this blue one doesn't want to see my hand. But I'm worried that it's too much for me. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be hard to show. So there's my colors. I love the dark one. Okay, the dark one started out as teal. It wasn't the right teal, so I just added more colors to it. So it's a very dark, dark, dark bluish greenish, almost black, which I wanted something like that in there to give more texture without more color. And then here's my teal. I love my rust. This is my favorite rust recipe. It's a good one. So I love that. I think those ones are great. But these two are a little bright. I do love this yellow, this ochre, this golden yellow. And they dried lighter. So they looked darker in the pan. They're a little bit drier now. And they're a little bit bright. And I'm worried that they're too bright for me. I might, because I don't want like a rainbowy tweed type thing. I want it to be very subtle and moody. So I think I might throw these back in the dye pans with some darker colors and darken them, make them more moody, warm them up a bit. But I'm going to sit on that for a little bit and decide more and then let you know. But overall, I think the colors together are kind of fun. Imagine them broken up very, very small as tweed, very like minimal tweed in a black yarn. Hand processed, like woolen squishy yarn. Knit up in the Lanark sweater by Rebecca Clow. Wouldn't that be so good? Oh, I'm so excited. So I just need to, you know, tweak those two colors a little bit, I think. And then I need to scour, which I think I'm going to scour my fleece this, like today or tomorrow. And then I'll pick it this week. And then I can start carding everything together. Then I can start spinning hopefully next week. Or at least get, you know, a sample spin in there. But I'm excited. I'm just going to tweak those two colors and then we'll be good to go. But that's where we're, yeah, they definitely need to be darker and moodier to fit what I'm kind of going for. But I love that they kind of glow because it's silk, and so it'll be really fun against the Coopworth fleece. Coopworth is also a very bouncy, it's little crinkle fries, a bouncy braid, kind of similar to BFL, just the bouncy, crimpy fiber, and so I'm very excited to spin it. I've never spun Coopworth, so I'm excited to see how that goes. I think it'll be a squishy, bouncy woolen yarn, and it'll make the perfect, is it brioche stitch or half fisherman's Lanark sweater. It'll be such a good one. I can't wait. Okay, so there's that. And then I do have one other acquisition besides my wheel for this week. But this one was gifted. I knit my home shirt jacket I showed you it as a finished object last time. And the plans from the very beginning, before I even finished started knitting it, before I cast it on, was to knit a DK weight version for the fall and the winter, and then to knit a fingering weight, more open gauge one for the spring. So I had this idea in my brain. And then Sonder Yarn Co, you know, shortly after I started my home shirt jacket, Sonder Yarn Co put out their new base, Fleece and Flax, which is a fingering weight, 75 BFL, 25% linen. And it's so scrumptious sounding, or it was. The idea of that yarn just was so exciting to me. And so I contacted Sonder and I was like, hey, I would love to knit the fingering weight version of this design up in your Fleece and Flax. Would you be interested in working together on that? And they said yes, and they sent me some yarn for it. So this is their new base, Fleece and Flax. I'm not gonna cast this on right now. We're planning on having the home shirt jacket light come out in May. So home shirt jacket, like the original version, I'm working on that one as a collaboration with Rachel from ZZ Textiles. Her base for that is absolutely perfect for the DK weight version. It's also a BFL base, but it's got, it's 40% Shetland, 40% BFL, 20% alpaca. That's what it is, I'm pretty sure. They're her heirloom DK base. It's so perfect for the home shirt jacket. And I talked with her a little bit more. We are adjusting the release date. So it's going to go into testing, I think we said October. So next month, a couple weeks. So we just had to adjust some things so that she would be able to get testers kits if they wanted, and then to be able to release kits with it when it comes out in January or February. So there's going to be a nice long testing period for that one. So the home shirt jacket will come out January, February-ish, go into testing in October-ish, if I'm remembering off the top of my head correctly. And then the home shirt jacket light will come out in May with in collaboration with Sonder Yarn Co on their Fleece and Flax base. So this one's new, like I said. It's beautiful. I love Sonder Yarn Co. I have knit one thing in their yarn in their Sunday morning, the fingering weight version, and it's just beautiful. That's my pullover. Absolutely love it. I'm a big BFL lover, so this is perfect for me. And I'm just so excited. Don't be scared by the linen content in here. It's a more rustic yarn, but BFL is very bouncy. So it'll make a nice bouncy, well-wearing, long-lasting, nice structured but flowy knit. And the linen will help it also be structured because linen is strong and it's not gonna, but it'll form to your body well with the linen. And it will not form like form-fitting, but like it'll hang on your body the way it's supposed to. And it'll be nice and breezy because it's linen. So it's gonna be perfect for the spring. I'm so excited. This is the colorway Sanctuary. And I'm very excited. It's softer than you would think it is with linen and BFL. I squished it at Flock. And then she sent it to me later. But I'm very excited. I can't wait to at least swatch with it knit with it a little bit and then let you know how it goes. So like I said, not coming out till May, so I'm not going to cast it on right now. But I'm very excited for this and to let you all know how it goes. I think this will be a very, very nice color for the spring as well. Very wearable. It's almost a neutral for the spring, being this light green. It's very nice. Okay, I believe that is all for today. I talked a little about the goals and things that I wanted to do for this week. Hopefully I'll have 2 finished objects next week, the baby sweater and the Pines pullover. And I'm hoping to finish the body of my Minou cardigan next week. Not next week, in 2 weeks from now when the next podcast comes out. Because I'm itching to get so many new things on the needles for fall. I really want to knit some rust colored things. Oh, look how good that is. And, you know, just to get some other things on the needles because my Minou has been on the needles for almost a year at this point. So I'm excited to get new things on the needles. So I'm very motivated to get lots of knitting done this week. Though I have a lot of dyeing to do as well with the California kits, the California sweater kits, as well as the Golden Hour colorway stuff that needs to get out as well. So I just got lots going on. And then lots of new things in the works for Golden Hour knitwear as well. But I've been prioritizing balance so that I have lots of time to knit, lots of time to dye. It's a good balance. I think we've been doing good with that. So hopefully next week there's going to be some finished objects. Hopefully some new cast-ons I'm excited about. Hopefully I'll have my fleece partially processed, at least partially carded up so you can kind of see the tweedy, the dark moody tweedy bats, and then maybe some yarn spun up for my Lanark sweater. I'm just so excited for that. So hopefully I'll have those things to share in 2 weeks, but we'll see. I have mentioned that I am excited to get some new things on the needles for fall. Hopefully, depending on how time works out and schedule works out, I'm hoping to get out a fall knitting plan video next week. So we'll see how that goes. But, so that's just some things to look forward to in the next couple weeks. Anyway, lots of fun stuff. I am excited for all of these things, as you can tell. But if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Thanks for being here. If you are not already, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. Just helps YouTube push out the video to other people like you who might enjoy all the fun knitting, spinning, dyeing, designing madness that we do here. Thanks again for being here. Don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos coming up in the future. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!